too. Seeing you in pain. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you this. I know in my heart I love you, and that's what I intend to do. I love you, and only you, no one else but you. I'll never love you any less than I do.
I'll never love you any less than I do. Easy
Sana'y malapit na. Sana magawa mo na. At sana ngayon na. Ako po si Papa Dudut, mga kapuso. Ang liham na inyong napakinggan ay sa direksyon ni Lady Gracia. Ang ating team song na alaala ay kinatabo ni Chopper Real at ni Jimmy Ramos sa matubay ni Maestro Jimmy Horado.
Whole day because it can get harder.
Oh, okay. But when you try to get inspiration, were there days that you just couldn't get your creative juices out there?
Yeah.
And you would struggle, and at the same time, were there days that you weren't able to write anything, or you weren't able to submit or meet your deadlines?
Yeah, of course it happens because sometimes it's just harder, like everyone else. Sometimes you just don't feel like going to work. You wish you can just skip and say you're sick.
Okay,
But yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of deadlines, how's your schedule like? Is it because I understand in the PR industry or in the advertising and
Holidays, I've experienced that. But yeah, I think compared to like agencies, we're freer with our time, especially like right now. If I'm just writing for the website, it's easier because it's just really up to me. But sometimes I have other projects like custom magazines for certain brands.
okay.
And of course, that's again with the client. So that's usually when I'm in the office until like midnight, meeting deadlines. So
And sometimes you'd have to report early the next day.
early. Yeah, you still have to be there at 9 a.m. You still have to make sure it gets in, it gets sent to them, and you have to make sure that you sent the right thing because
Yeah.
that's happened to me before. Sending a deadline for a certain task and I sent the older version.
Okay. And how do you deal with this? I mean, I know that people are aware of it nowadays. Now people are aware of this of anxiety, of depression, and it's something that we want to keep on talking about just to raise awareness. So if there are people right now who are listening, who are in the corporate field, whether they are in writing, wherever they are, what's that one advice? Because what's that one advice that you can give them when it comes to struggling at work and dealing with depression also?
Yeah, I think this is something that my other office mates also taught me that, you know, don't be so hard on yourself if you don't meet a deadline.
Yeah.
Because the world isn't gonna stop. The company's not gonna burn to the ground.
Yeah,
If you don't
that's
meet
right.
one deadline because you were having a really bad day.
Okay,
And
yeah.
that's okay. And you know, I think everyone needs to hear that you know, the world's not gonna stop turning if you don't produce something you promised you would. But you know, you of course you try your best, but if at the end of the day it's just a big struggle, then it's okay. Because for me, I'd rather take more time producing something of quality than forcing myself to produce subpar content.
Just to meet the
Just to
deadline.
meet the deadline.
Yeah. So basically, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, basically, don't beat yourself up because, like, again, the world is not stop turning. The company's not gonna close down.
Yeah.
because of one missed deadline.
And I know you've written a lot of articles, a lot of write-ups per se, and you sharing this part of you also. Thank you. I appreciate that, and I think that's one thing that we can learn from Mara. Whatever we're going through, it doesn't really. It won't. The world won't stop. That's right. The world won't stop. Things are still gonna move around us, and our life's not gonna end just because we weren't able to meet one deadline, right?
Yeah.
And is that somehow your motivation when it comes to writing? Of course, you would have good days and bad days, right? And I'm assuming on your bad days, is this things done? And I could just imagine a writer like Mara, how she tries to get all her creative juices out there just to get one thing done and to make sure that it's not half-baked or anything. So this is one thing that we have to value as fellow co-workers, as not just with our bosses, but anybody in general. Like, this is something that we have to respect. Like, if someone needs to rest, because, you know, of course we have to be aware of
Yeah.
this. That we have to have a high level of awareness when it comes to mental health, right? Yeah.
But it's a matter, I think, of also balancing it out because you can't
Yeah.
always make
Yeah,
an
that's
excuse.
very true. That's very true, though.
But you know, on like particularly bad days, then maybe you could. But yeah, like for my part, I think I do my best every day. I try, but you know, if some days I'm just not really feeling it, I take like a few minutes, maybe an hour, just to myself.
Okay.
To watch some things, listen to some things, because maybe you know
Just to
those
keep things light.
yeah, and just, you know, even just scrolling on social media, I think that's what's good also about my field is you can write about anything. So even just scrolling on social media, you sometimes stumble upon topics that, oh, maybe this could be my inspiration for the day. I can
Okay.
write something based on this.
So basically, you just need to take a few steps back and, you know, just try to regroup, you know, and think of how you're gonna get on with the rest of the day, right? So yeah, but high respect for you because you're able to find the right balance with it. Because I think you've been working for 2 years. Am I correct? Yeah, for 2 years, and you've been writing for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's actually surprising because earlier she said that she didn't want to write. The few girls who not really struggling, but was having a difficult time to find inspiration when it comes to writing. And now here she is in the media industry, writing for them, writing for tons of clients about anything and everything. And you should go ahead and check her out. Also, later on I think she'll be doing a little plug where you can read her stuff. But besides magazines, do you write stuff online?
Yeah, of course. Anything we write on the website, we have to reflect on social media. So,
Okay.
of course, you have to get it to your audiences.
That's
'Cause,
right.
You know, not everyone knows your website as soon as it's up. So you do also have to do your part to get it out there.
Yeah, that's true. But how do you make your writing more SEO friendly? You know, because diba? I think it's so. How is it SEO friendly? How do you make your writing SEO friendly? Because a lot of people like using a lot of highfalutin words. And is this something that you omit, or is it something that you still use? I mean, what kind of terms do you use? How do you write your sentences? How simple are they?
I think it's important to note also that writing for the digital world is different if it's just on print, because on print, as long as you know your thoughts are aligned,
That's
and everything like is your vocabulary and grammar is correct, then you're okay. Of course, but on the digital side of things, there's a lot of checking because, for example, in our office we use WordPress, and on WordPress there's actually like a score system that tells you like what you need to improve on so that it becomes more SEO friendly, it's more readable. So yeah, I think with like highfalutin words, that's really something that we should avoid, I think, because one of the things I learned in college actually is that jargons aren't really necessary if
that's
you're not,
true.
if you're not writing academically at least, because of course you want your audiences, even if like I said before, you're writing for a niche audience, but if someone from another group interest comes in and reads what you write, you want them to still understand about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So not so much with the highfalutin words for me.
But that's good, because I think it's really not really difficult, but sometimes you just try to want your content to be a light and easy read for your audience.
Exactly, because you want them to be able to read it at one go and take something away from it, not that they have to like
What does this
stay on
mean?
it. Yeah, exactly.
That's hard. But as a managing editor, kasi kanina you were talking about how you should also be careful with what you see on social media, just so you know how to put it out online. Now, as a managing editor of Celebrity Mom, how do you proofread the stuff that that the other guys write for you or for Celebrity Mom? Diba?
I think it's just a matter of like having sharp eyes on things.
Yeah.
For example, when we were doing the magazine last May, I had to point out, for example, if a name's wrong or if, even double spaces between words.
Also, I think capital letters.
Oh, and actually some people overuse punctuation marks, actually.
Oh, what does that mean? An overuse of punctuation
Like, for example, like now we're talking.
Yeah.
And we take certain pauses. But when you're writing, that doesn't really
mean that you have to put a punctuation
like
mark.
a comma or something. But some
Oh,
people
okay.
write that way. But actually, the good thing also is that in my office, I work with like other good writers, so it doesn't really take much for me.
Okay.
But for some other contributing writers, that's when I have to like make sure that everything is sound and okay for me.
Isn't that a lot of pressure for you, given that you have to proofread everything, and what if one of the higher ups read it and go, wait, I think something's wrong here. What happened? Why didn't you see this? So have you encountered anything like that?
Yeah, it's always like I always cringe when I see the magazine published and I find something. I can tell you not to go back to something you've written because you're gonna find something wrong.
But to be honest, actually the littlest details is something that people don't really notice.
Yeah.
Unless you spelled it incorrectly, diba?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I think after a while, after reading like the same thing 10 times, sometimes you need fresh eyes. So I really do ask other people to check if a certain thing is okay, especially if it's a full magazine that you have to proofread. It gets really daunting and tiring after like 3 reads.
Yeah, that's pretty draining for you. And with regards to proofreading and writing, both ways, diba? I think that you have to be a wide reader. So how often do you read? Because nowadays everything's just available online. And are you still into books, like literally like hardbound books, softbound books, print, anything in print? Are you still into that? Do you believe that for you to be able to be a great writer or to be a better writer, do you believe that you have to be well read?
Yeah, because you can't know something without reading anything.
That's right.
So, actually, just like not just books, with like articles online. Sometimes if just I find it interesting or whatever, it piques my interests. Then I read it, and it does widen your worldview, and even just talking to other people makes you realize, oh, I didn't see things this way before if they hadn't told me. So, yeah, I think reading makes you a better writer because you adapt certain styles, certain tones, and certain thoughts that you previously didn't know.
So probably that could be tip number one. What could be other tips that you can give to aspiring
Also be welcoming of criticism. Okay. A lot of people have a problem with other people saying something about their work. But for me, I take
I can relate.
yeah. That's why for me, like when I entered the field, diba, I said I didn't want to be a writer. So I just came in and I had the mindset of whatever it is I can learn about, I will. So
Right.
edits, sometimes I get edits back and they're all like red.
Okay.
But that's okay because like I learned from it and then you apply it to the next assignment. So yeah, you just be open to criticism
That's
because they're not out there to sabotage you and make you feel bad. They're out there to make you a better writer.
Yeah.
Make you learn more things.
But sometimes I think it can be brutal when people make comments, or I guess when they return your work to you. I think sometimes that there are some people who can be too harsh with their comments, and this is something that I guess writers like you have to deal with. Just because if you dwell on it, then obviously you're not going to be able to move forward, right?
Yeah, so sometimes it's just about, especially again, if it's with clients.
Right.
Then you have to adjust it and because they are protecting their brand, they are protecting what they're selling or you're talking about. So sometimes even if you feel like it's not the best way,
Okay.
you just have to do it.
So bottom line, regardless if you're writing for a company, if you're actually employed in that company, or if you're a freelance writer, you ought to be careful with what you write because you are adhering to your client's needs.
And I think it's also important to note too that you shouldn't take it all personally.
Yeah.
Because I think some people, if they're given comments in a professional context,
Correct.
they take it personally, and it like how do you say this? Sorry.
It's okay, go ahead.
it makes them feel bad and even affects their relationship outside of work. So I think just don't take it personally.
Yeah.
It's
I think
important.
it's okay for us, for all of us to leave some room or a little room for improvement every time. Sometimes I have this mindset. Now, I always want to come in second. Like, I want to be in second place, or I want to feel like I'm in second place with what I do, because that means I always have room for improvement, right? Because at the end of the day, you're only as good as the last thing you've written, diba? Because one day you write something so great, on another day it could be not so great, but on the other day it could be something great again, diba?
Yeah.
So my last question for you, is there joy? Is there joy? Is there worth and fulfillment in what you do as in writing? Is there joy, fulfillment, and worth?
Yeah, of course. Some days it feels like you're just screaming in the wind because no one's reading about what you're writing.
Yeah.
But like, for example, like with a magazine, I get surprised to know that it's sold out or stocks are
Wow.
yeah, stocks are out already. So I think of course any writer wants to be read.
Yeah.
know, just like any, like for you want to be heard.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel like it's fulfilling, especially when I see other people sharing something that I wrote or they comment on it that they like it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun because, like, for example, for other projects I've worked on, I've talked to other people, and you know, when, for example, like celebrities, and
Yeah.
they share about
What you
wrote.
Yeah.
So it's like
It gives you some sort of prestige then, diba?
yeah, but like, you know, writing about other people, other company stories,